so this is now our lesson number 3 under the subject Human Rights Education. So this lesson covers the classification of rights. Once again, your lecturer is Darlito Bernard Lizo, known as Sir D, Tatay D, or Dr. D. And the objectives of this lesson is to enable the learners or the viewers to determine the different types of rights and to appreciate the concepts of the different types of rights in a given situation. So again, so the jumping board for this subject is or for this lesson is the multiple choice question quiz in the classroom. But if you're not my student in the classroom, you may analyze this question as a jumping board for our discussion. Okay. According to source, the right to life or the right to life is a blank right. So the right to life. So according to the source. So what are the we call it the rights according to the sources? Of course, you have the two, the natural and the legal sources. Okay, the natural and the legal sources. So in here, the natural right is are God-given rights, whereas legal rights are we call it either constitutional or statutory rights. Okay, so the answer here is either of the above, meaning the right to life or the right to live is a natural right. It's a given by God. That's why abortion should not be allowed, because that is your right, or an infant, that is his right or her right to be born, like that. And of course, in the Constitution, it's also provided in Section 12 of the Article 3 that we have the right to life, liberty, and property, and no one should be deprived of his right to life, liberty, and property without the due process of law. And same thing, we have statutory rights. So we have laws that prohibits the killing. Say, for example, your revised penal code. Okay, it prohibits murder and homicide. So the right to life is basically we call it, can be considered be classified under natural, under legal, under constitutional, and under the statutory rights. To understand further, as I mentioned a while back, rights according to source could be a natural or moral rights, and we have the legal rights, meaning under the laws. And under the laws, we have the fundamental law of the land, which is the Constitution, and we have statutory laws. These are, we call it laws made by our legislative body of the government. Okay, so rights according to the source as natural or moral rights are God-given rights and acknowledged as morally good. So an example is the rights to live, okay, or the right to live, the right to love, the right to be happy, right to be liberty, and right to equal dignity. So right to love, meaning right to because God gave each human being the emotion to love or the feeling to love. Okay, so no one can stop you, provided it is within the bound of the morality of God. Okay, and the right to be happy, meaning the right to enjoy life. Okay, no one shall deprive you, or no one could deprive you of that. And the right to liberty, the right to your freedom to go to places where you would like to be. Okay, so that is a natural right, and that is a God-given right. Okay, so what else? Legal rights, as I've said, are those under the Constitution and those promulgated by the legislative department of the government. Under the Constitution, of course, we have the Bill of Rights, particularly the Article 3, which provides for the rights to life, right to liberty, right to property, right to privacy, right of abode, okay, and others, and of course, even the rights of accused. On the other hand, statutory rights are given by the special laws. Say, for example, in the Family Code of the Philippines, okay, the Civil Code of the Philippines, okay, as well as other laws concerning the treatment of criminals and suspects. And of course, labor laws that we have, the right to receive due compensation, na dapat mabigyan ka ng natawag natin sapat at ayon sa batas na sweldo. Okay? At ganun din, pag sinabi mong statutory rights, so marami yan. No? Lahat ng mga batas na nag-enhance, nagpo-provide na ma-observe, ma-implement, maibigay ang karapatan ng isang mamamayan, ng isang citizen, at ito ay ginawa ng ating kongreso or ng ating executive branch kasi ang ating presidente ay pwede rin silang gumawa. Meron siyang legislative power also in cases of emergencies. Okay? So lahat 'yon are under the statutory rights. According to the aspect of life, the right to property against illegal seizure or confiscation is a blank right. Okay? So, merong aspeto ang ating buhay. We have our civil life, okay? And you have your political rights or political life. You have your economic life. You have your social life. And you have your cultural life, okay? So, we have different aspects of our existence as human beings. So, in cases of your right over your property, against, take note, the word against illegal seizure. Okay, against illegal seizure. In other words, the government or even non-government people, okay, you have that right in which they could seize your property illegally without we call it without the order of the court or the decision of the court. Okay, so that is not political, that is not economic, although it has something to do with your right over property. But take note, this one is a right that protects you against illegal seizure. So that is your civil rights. Okay? So let us discuss further. These are the rights according to the aspect of life, as we had mentioned a while back: the civil rights, political rights, economic, social, and cultural rights. The civil rights, these are the rights given by each individual in our country for the purpose of securing the enjoyment of happiness. Your happiness over your property, your happiness over your life, your happiness over your liberty. Okay? And it gives a guarantee for the security of people against the state agents in abusing the exercise of the state's inherent powers. The government has inherent powers. The police power, that is their power to exact obedience, meaning to force the people to obey the laws. Okay? And the eminent domain, that is the power of the government to use private properties for the common good. And the power of taxation, that is to collect revenues from the people. We will be discussing these powers of the government more comprehensively in a different video later on. Okay? So a while back, we mentioned about your protection against illegal search and seizure or illegal seizure of your property. Remember that we have the economic right to enjoy our property. The guarantee for you to be, we call it protected against the illegal seizure of your that property, of your happiness over that property, okay, is called your civil rights. Okay? That's why our answer previously is it is specifically your right under the civil rights. So rights enjoyed by people as citizens of their country. Okay, in your given module, you have Nelson as a citizen of the country is mandated to observe proper conduct and relationship with others in order for them to live in peace and avoid in sort of conflict. So this is your rights, okay, that you have to observe the proper conduct and relationship with others. So as we mentioned a while back, the government has the police power for you to obey the government. Okay? Now, in this particular, we call it, in particular example, Nelson as a citizen of the country is mandated to observe proper conduct and relationship with others in order for them to live in peace and avoid in sort of conflict. Okay, so there are laws, there are we call it statutes governing your conduct. Okay, and the government is has the power for over you to obey those laws. Okay, so that you will be able to live in peace and avoid in sort of conflict with others. Okay, so that is the idea why this is a civil rights. Okay, your enjoyment of your happiness as a social or as a civilian or as a we call it citizen of this country. So that is your civil rights. Further, when you speak of civil rights, it has something to do with your right to life. So no one can deprive you of your life, okay, without due process of law. The right to be free from torture and degrading treatment. The rights to personal liberty, privacy, and a fair trial. No one can take away those things from you, okay, uh, except except if that is we call it under due process of law. Okay, we call it legitimate ways of stopping you, okay, from exercising your civil rights, your freedoms of thoughts, your freedoms of religion, your freedoms of expression, information, and movement within one's country. So these are part of your civil rights. Okay, so we call it the government cannot take this away from you without due process of law. What about political rights? In your note, it says there, enable everyone. These are rights that will enable everyone to participate in running the affairs of the government either directly or indirectly. When you say direct participation in the government, you are working with the government either as an appointed or as an appointed or elected public official. When you say indirect, you are part of the voting population. You participated in the election. Okay, so rights enjoyed as a member of a political body, right to vote, right to run for public office, and others. So Shaira wanted to run for elections, that is in your module, as a town mayor. However, she lacked one of the requirements, which is the residency requirement. Therefore, her name was removed by the Commission on Election. So it is part of his political right. Okay, so he could not exercise his political right to run for office because he lacks the necessary requirement, in particular the residency requirement. Economic, social, and cultural rights. This is for rights to ensure self-determination, to pursue economic, social, and cultural development, and financial security. And these are programmable rights, meaning these are made by the government. These are policies created by the government depending upon the resources and the political will of the state, meaning these particular things more or less are negotiable depending on the resources and the political will of the state. Okay, so to explain further, economic rights, these are the right to own a property, your right to use it, and to dispose your property, and right to engage in business, and right to practice your profession as a criminologist, and right to earn for a living. So in your module, it says in there, an example is these rights guarantees the protection to everyone in seeking your financial security. So the graphics beside, okay, these are your rights to produce goods, to produce goods. Goods could be services, okay, as a farmer, okay, and then you have the right to consume them, to buy them, to use them, okay, those economic goods, and you have the right to engage as a seller or as a capitalist in the buy and sell of these goods for purposes of earning a living. So that is your economic rights. Okay? Kaya Kapag gusto mo magpatayo ng negosyo mo, okay, na memorial homes, no one can stop you provided you um, you have all the requirements provided for by the law. Okay, so social rights on the other hand, okay, these are rights, okay, to we call it rights to an adequate standard of living, adequate housing and food, the right to the highest attainable standard of health, and the rights to education and social security. Okay, so your rights to enjoy the life of a human being. You are eating well, you are eating sufficiently, okay, you are living in a house worthy of living, like that. Okay, so that's the idea of the social rights. And no one can stop you to pursue these things. Okay, if you would like that your life will be enjoyable and your life will become better than today, well, no one can stop you to pursue these things. No one can stop you to eat good foods. Okay, no one can stop you that because those are your social rights. Okay, no one can stop you from renting a condominium because that is your social right, provided you can afford it. Okay, and of course, just like insurance, you have the right to we call it to buy insurance, okay, for your after your retirement, like that. So those are your social rights. That's why we have the social security system. In the social security system, it includes we call it provisions for your health, provisions for your safety, provisions for your employment also, okay, provisions for your housing, and provisions for your retirement. That's why it's called the social security system, your SSS. The cultural rights, on the other hand, these are your rights to enjoy your own culture and participate in the cultural life of the community. Say, for example, you would like to join a cultural parade. No one can stop you, provided you are not going against the law. So members of the indigenous communities enjoy this kind of right in order to protect and preserve. Just like in Cordillera, we have the rituals, the Kanyao. No one can stop you on that, so long as you are not violating any law. So culture includes your language. No one can stop you to choose what language you would like to use as a language. Say, for example, you are a Tagalog speaker, and yet in the house you would like to use English, then so be it. You are Ilocano and you would like to use Tagalog in your house, so be it. That is your cultural rights. Okay? Your right to, we call it, practice your good manners, to wear the cultural clothings, okay? To practice your religion, okay? To eat the cultural foods, okay? And to join celebrations, just like you are celebrating fiestas. Those are cultural rights, so you have the right to participate on those things. No one can stop you on those practices. Just like sa religion, ano? Kaya pag ito yung aking question, bakit ang mga schools from elementary to college naglalagay sila ng activities sa mga Sundays? Well, I'm sorry for those who are worshiping during Saturdays and Fridays. So I will just take it generally in the Philippine context because anyway, 80% of the Filipino people go supposedly are doing their worship day during Sundays. Okay, so I will just talk on the general idea. So, ang tanong ko dito, bakit yung mga school ay nagmamandate ng mga Sunday activities para sa estudyante? Ang nangyayari tuloy, nadi-deprive yung mga estudyante ng kanilang religious rights, ng kanilang cultural rights to observe their religion or to go to Sunday. Okay? That is the idea. Kaya ganito ang aking punto niyan is say for example, 50 points yung activity ng Sunday. Sunday yan eh. Yan ang araw na sinusunod mo as your cultural rights to practice your religion. And that is also your religious rights. Okay? To be specific on that. dapat hindi imamandate yung mga bata. Say for example, yung mga iglesia ni Cristo sa inyo, no one can stop you from going to church, okay, on Thursdays and Saturdays, and even on Sundays. Well, because that is your religious rights and under your cultural rights, okay? So, wala maka-stop. Even the Seventh-day Adventists, no one could stop them from worshiping on Saturdays. So, uh, dapat yan ay i-promote, ma-enhance yung mga bagay na yan because those are part of your cultural rights, okay? Okay, so the recent Senate Bill 1563 lowering the height requirements of applicants for the Tri-Bureau and the Bureau of Elections is a right guaranteeing what right of non-indigenous people. Okay? Again, if we go back to the characteristics of human rights, these human rights are interdependent, interrelated, and complementary. Okay? So this one could either be an economic right, it could also be a social right, and it could also be a civil right. Okay? However, the best answer could either be an economic or social right for that matter. Okay? But between economic right and social right, which one is what is the issue here? The issue here is that it guarantees your right to of your social status. Okay, concerning your height, it has nothing to do with we call it your right to practice your profession, but rather it is your social status to become also a part of the Tri-Bureau. So basically, this is your social right because it talks of your social status. It is not talking about your right to earn a living, actually. Okay? But rather, it talks about your social status. Okay? That your height should not be what you call a an issue so that you will not be able to enjoy life to we call it to attain your aspirations or dreams of becoming a member of the Tri-Bureau or any of the Tri-Bureaus of the DILG. So that is more of the social rights. So there are also rights according to derogability. When you say derogable, it can be removed. Okay, so there are rights that can be removed and there are rights that cannot be removed. Those rights that cannot be removed are called the non-derogable rights, or in other terms, they are called absolute rights. Okay, these are rights that cannot be suspended nor taken away nor restricted or limited even in the extreme emergency and even if the government invoke national security. Okay, the right to life is an example to that. Okay, to explain that further, let's take a look on the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights. So under Article 4, Paragraph 2 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights provides that no derogation is permitted, meaning this could not be removed, this could not be derogated, your right to life. That's why you might be saying that, how about a policeman killing a suspect? Again, a policeman killing a suspect does not immediately exonerate him from any criminal liability. Okay? It should be within the legitimacy of the rules of engagement. Pag tama ang ginawa niya, well, basically, babagsak yan as legitimate yung kanyang pagpatay. But otherwise, pwede siyang kasuhan ng homicide or murder if hindi siya sumunod sa legitimacy ng rules of engagement or the regularity of the police operation. Freedom from torture or cruel, okay? Inhumane and degrading treatment or punishment, and freedom from medical or scientific experimentation without consent. These are absolute. No one. Say for example, namatay yung kamag-anak mo, tinanggal yung kanyang atay, tinanggal yung kanyang bato, okay? Tinanggal yung kanyang puso at yan ay dinonate sa iba at walang consent, well, you can invoke a violation of that particular rights, okay? And then pinilit ka na mag-undergo bilang one of the subjects para dun sa testing ng bakuna. Walang tawag natin, walang makakapigil sa inyo yan. That's why ang ginagawa nila, pinapapirma ka ng consent na pumapayag ka na kapag sumablay yan, hindi mo hahabulin yung ating government. Say for example, yung euthanasia in the country. Euthanasia in the country is basically prohibited. Okay? However, in practice, take note class, in practice, ginagawa yan. Sa paanong kaparaanan dun sa hospital. Say for example, meron kang kamag-anak na 85 years old, na stroke, tapos wala nang pag-asa na mabuhay. Kung mabuhay man siya, okay, kung ma-opera siya, gagastos ka ng millions, pero pag naging successful yung operation, ay 95% na lang yung kanyang 5% na lang yung kanyang katawan ng gumagalaw, nakahiga na siya. Okay? At yung yun namang cost ng operation ay aabot ng millions, tapos yung result pa ng operation ay yung chances pa ay hindi 50-50 bagkus nasa 10 to 90, 10% lang ang pagiging success niyan. So ngayon, pagpipiliin ka ng doktor, sasabihin ng doktor sa'yo, okay, yes, may karapatang mabuhay. Ang yung kamag-anak, may karapatan siya na mabigyan ng medical intervention. Pero ito ang sasabihin ko sa inyo, sabihin ng doktor. Kapag inoperahan natin yan, 10% lang yung kanyang pag-asang mabuhay. Okay? Kapag naging successful yung operation, 5% na lang ang katawan niyang kumikilos, nakahiga na yan. Ang tanong, mayroon ba mag-aalaga sa inyo? Kailangan full-time alagaan nyo yan. Okay? At ganun din, meron ba kayong 1.5 million? So pag-isipan ninyo. Diba? So pag-isipan ngayon ng mga magkakamag-anak, anong gagawin natin? Meron ba mag-aalaga? Meron ba tayong 1.5 million? Isusugal ba natin? Baka magsasayang tayo ng pera. So ngayon, pag sinabi nila, Dok, hindi natin operahin. Ngayon, ang gagawin ng doktor, ng hospital, papapirmahan kayo ng consent. Okay? Para pag namatay yung kamag-anak nyo sa hospital, hindi nyo ma-invoke yung right to life of your relative. Okay? Hindi nyo pwedeng kasuhan ng negligence yung hospital. Ganun din, kapag tatanggalin na yung life support ng kamag-anak nyo, say for example, yung breathing apparatus niya, oxygen niya. Ngayon, hindi hospital ang magtatanggal nun. Ayaw nilang tanggalin. Kasi nga, yung right to life na ini-invoke ng tao. So, aside from the consent, hindi sila ang magtatanggal niyan. They will ask a relative, yung pinaka-nearest relative, one of the nearest relatives ng auntie ninyo, na magtatanggal ng life support. Tapos, in the process, i-video kayo, i-record. So that later on, pag namatay na yung kamag-anak nyo, hindi na kayo pwedeng humabol ng liability out of negligence of the hospital. That's the idea. Okay? Freedom from slavery and servitude. Okay? Even sa utang. Kaya doon sa ating Philippine Constitution, hindi pa pwede na yung utang mo, babayaran mo by serving the person. Okay? So, involuntary servitude. Unless, of course, ikaw ay magko-consent na you are going to serve that person in lieu or in payment of your utang. So, involuntary servitude is not allowed in our Constitution as well. So, what else? Freedom from imprisonment for inability to fulfill a contractual obligation. So, contractual obligation, these are, of course, civil liabilities. And civil liabilities should be paid in amount or in money, not by imprisonment. Unless, of course, if your failure to fulfill a contract resulted to loss of life or property, that is where you will be incarcerated, you will be imprisoned by reason of criminal liability arising from culpa contractual. Okay? And you call that your reckless imprudence or reckless or the negligence. Okay? What are the examples of this? Okay? Yan. Sa kapabayaan ng driver mo, kumuha ka ng driver mo sa iyong pampasayrong jeep, sa kapabayaan niya ay tinatawag natin na aksidente ng sakyan, okay? So pwede kang kasuhan ngayon ng mga tinatawag natin na mga passengers. Meron kang liability doon sa pagkamatay ng mga taong yan, okay? So prohibition against the retrospective operation of criminal laws. What is the meaning of retrospectivity of the law? So if you have already done with your criminal law book 1, you we call it learned about the characteristic of a criminal law which is retrospective, meaning a law should be implemented, okay, retroactively, meaning pag sinabing retroactive, kumbaga pwedeng may pabalik na epekto, may epekto siya kahapon. Supposedly kasi ang batas, mag-e-effect ang batas kung kailan ito sinabi ng batas na ng ating government na mag-effect. So for example, 15 days after its publication from the official gazette. Pag ganun sinabi, 15 days after that, automatically magiging effective na yan. So kapag ginawa yung batas ngayon, pero ang sabi, 15 days after na ito yung na-publish sa official gazette, hindi kapapublish pa lang ngayon, hindi pa siya effective ngayon. Yun ang ibig sabihin nun. Okay? Pero mayroong mga batas na meron siyang retroactive effect. Pabalik yung epekto niya. If the law favors the subject or favors the accused. Say for example, yung kaso mo, illegal possession of firearm. Okay? Kagaya ni Ruben Padilla, nung nakulong siya, 17 years ang conviction niya sa illegal possession of firearm. But while he was in prison, nagkaroon ng 8294, lowering now the penalty of, we call it illegal possession of firearm to 4 years. So, meron siyang retroactive effect kasi nagpi-favor sa mga akusado, sa mga convicted persons. Okay? So, since may 4 years na siya, may 5 years na siya sa kulungan, something like that, so nilabas na siya nung naka 4 years na siya. Kasi yun ang sinasabi ng ating batas na meron siyang retroactive effect. So, hindi mo po pwedeng ibawal yan. That is absolute. That is non-derogable yan. Yung pag-a-apply mo ng retroactive effect ng batas. Say for example, ganito yan. Nagtatrabaho ka. Okay? Ngayon, merong proposal na mag-increase yung sahod. Okay? Ilagay nila sa General Appropriations Act ng government. After 6 months ngayon, na-aproban yung batas. Okay? Na sinasabi na tawag natin yung sweldo ng mga empleyado na kagaya mo ay dapat mag-increase from 10 to 15,000 effective January. So meron siyang retroactive, meaning meron kang retroactive pay. Makukuha mo yung 5,000 a month mula nung January hanggang ngayong November. So pag sinabi nating October, okay, so 10 times 50, so meron kang 50,000 na retroactive pay. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng retroactive. And the right to recognition before the law. What is the meaning of that? Okay, that is under the law, the equal protection of the law. Okay, so you cannot derogate that. You cannot suspend that. Okay, freedom of thoughts, as long as your thoughts does not contradict the policies of the government, your conscience and your religion. So there is an issue now concerning the right to join the Communist Party of the Philippines. So it's okay. Okay lang yan na ikaw ay member ng CPP. But the problem is kapag ikaw ay member ng rebellion against the government. Kaya hindi hinuhuli yung mga communist members dito sa bansa natin unless sila ay tinatawag natin involved sa criminal acts. Yung mga NPA na mga nakulong, yung mga communist members na nakulong sa Pilipinas, they were incarcerated not because of their political opinions or leaning, but rather because of, we call it, yung kanilang participation sa mga criminal activities. Doon sila nakulong, hindi sa kanilang pagiging komunista, kundi sa natawag natin mga acts, yung kanilang ginawang criminal acts, doon sila nakulong. Okay? So, yun ang mga tinatawag nating non-derogatory we call it rights, hindi pwedeng isuspend ang mga yan. What about derogable or relative rights? Ito yung mga pwede mong isuspend. Say for example, we have the right to travel. Okay? So these are rights that can be suspended or restricted or limited depending on circumstances for preservation of social life. Just like in your handouts, you have your example with the current situation that we are facing now caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The government enforced restriction on its inhabitants, particularly restriction to travel. Okay? So we have the right to travel, but that can be suspended by reason of preservation of the public health na tinatawag natin. No? Pwedeng masuspend ang mga bagay na yan. Just like the right to education. Okay, sasabihin nyo, we have the right to education pero sinuspende yung ating school year ng ilang buwan. You cannot invoke that because it is more paramount yung public health na tinatawag natin. Kaya nasuspend, wala tayong magawa. Kung isuspende yung schooling natin hanggang tawag natin hanggang next year, wala tayong magawa. As long as it is for the common good or for the general welfare of the public. Okay? That's the idea of derogable or relative rights. Pwedeng masuspende, that is to preserve greater life or to preserve the social life. Prohibition of cyber libel or publishing fake news it is not a natural right. It is not an absolute right, okay? Nor a non-derogable right. It is a derogable right, okay? What are these things? Prohibition of cyber libel, no? Cyber libel kasi, supposedly, ang elemento niyan is may lying. Okay? Publishing fake news is may lying. However, may mga instances na hindi sila nakakasuhan ng mga yan, particularly if it concerns supposedly national security. Kapag if it concerns national security, pwedeng kanyan. Pwedeng tinatawag natin, pwedeng masuspende yung mga rights on cyber libel and publishing fake news. Kasi as long as yan ay relative sa ating national security, pwede yan. Ano? Okay? Yan. The number 6, Judy Ann, a 14-year-old, was born out of wedlock. She decided to claim for support from her biological father as mandated by Article 175. Okay, so he has the right as an offspring, as a child. Okay, you have the right to be, we call it, supported by your parents until your emancipation age. Okay, until your age of emancipation, kailangan suportahan ka ng mga magulang. So, mayroon kang karapatan na humabol ng suporta hanggang ikaw ay makarating ng yung age of emancipation. Okay? That particular right is mandated by a law, particularly Article 175 of the Family Code of the Philippines. So, yung financial support claim is a right. It is not a natural right. It is not an economic right. Okay? It is not also a social right, but rather, it's more of the, so it could be a social right, but it is more of a statutory right because our focus here is the law. Okay? We are focusing here, okay, of the law. Yan. If we are focusing on the purpose of claiming, if the focus is about so that he could eat the proper food, he could go to school, then that could be a social right. Pero ang pinag-usapan kasi natin, ang in-emphasize natin, it is mandated by a law, so therefore, it is a statutory right. If we are going to emphasize that kailangan siya masuportahan para siya ay makapag-enroll sa elementary, sa high school, para makakain siya araw-araw ng masustansyang pagkain, then yung kanyang financial support is an example of social right. Pero dito, ang emphasis natin ay sa batas. Therefore, it is a statutory right. Then finally, June is unemployed for the last 5 years. So he decided to file his candidacy for an elected position in the government. His decision to run for a government office is his political right. So he would like to directly participate in the governance of this country. Therefore, that is a political right. Okay? So that ends our lesson 2 under the different classifications of or lesson 3, okay, on the different classification of rights. Okay?